You pick MiniMax H3 to save money, render overnight, and wake up to a fight scene that looks like a cartoon, while Kling 3.0 would have nailed it in minutes. H3 is built for budget and native audio. Kling 3.0 is built for motion realism and multi-shot control. One of them is right for your project, so let's find out which. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Test 1. Cost per second. The number that actually bites you is when you're generating a 15-second clip at 2K resolution, and you don't check the per second rate first, so that bill lands and it's 2 to 3 times what you expected. That's the gap we're looking at between MiniMax H3 and Kling 3.0 at the top tier, and it adds up fast on any real project. I pulled the API pricing pages and community reported numbers side by side. MiniMax H3 at 2K runs you 0.13 to 0.14 per second, and Kling 3.0 Pro with audio on lands at roughly 0.1 wiki per second, so H3 is about 2.5 to 3 times cheaper at the top tier. Drop to H3's 768p mode and you're at 0.08 to 0.10, which is the cheapest per second option either model has. MiniMax H3 takes cost per second. It's the cheaper tool at every tier I could actually compare, and at 2K that gap is 2.5 to 3 times in H3's favor, which puts MiniMax H3 up 1 to nothing on the scoreboard. If budget is your whole decision, you might already have your answer. I know that cost gap because I've been deep inside these video tools long enough to feel it in my wallet, so drop a comment below if a per second rate has ever caught you off guard. Test 2. Physical motion realism. You've got a client who needs a fight scene, 2 characters, real punches, real impact, and you generate it and the kicks look like they're moving through water. The strikes don't land with any weight, and now you're re-prompting from scratch. That re-prompt costs you time and money, and it's the exact scenario where the gap between these two models is most obvious. What got me here is how consistent the community consensus is. Users running action-heavy prompts through both models report that Kling 3.0's punches and kicks actually move like real strikes, with weight, follow-through, and impact. MiniMax H3 is decent on general motion physics, but on fight choreography specifically, it underperforms. And I'll note this is community-reported data rather than a controlled lab test, so factor that in. Kling 3.0 takes physical motion realism. Its fight choreography is best in class, and H3 just isn't at the same level for action-heavy work, which ties the score at 1 apiece. I expected H3 to be closer given its price, but the motion physics gap is real. Test 3. Native audio and modality. Say you need dialogue in your video, a Spanish-speaking character, and a Japanese-speaking character in the same scene. If your model only handles 5 languages natively, you're stitching external audio tools into your workflow, paying for them separately, and syncing lip movement by hand, and that's a real production cost that doesn't show up in the per second rate. I checked the official model cards on both sides. MiniMax H3 supports 11 dialogue languages natively with stereo 32 kHz audio, all generated in a single omnimodal pass where text, image, video, and audio are handled together. Kling 3.0 supports 5 languages with audio and lip sync, which is solid, but the language count is less than half of H3's, and the vendor documentation clearly favors H3 here. MiniMax H3 takes native audio and modality. It's 11 languages in one pass versus Kling's 5, and that's a vendor official number rather than a community estimate, which pushes H3 ahead 2 to 1. If multilingual audio without extra tooling is part of your workflow, H3 is the clear pick here. So H3 is up on cost and audio, but we still haven't looked at generation speed or multi-shot editing, and those two tests could completely flip who you should actually pay for. Speed decides whether H3's price advantage survives a real production schedule, and multi-shot control decides whether Kling 3.0 can pull ahead on the kind of complex storytelling work that actually pays. Test 4. Generation speed. You're on a deadline, you need to iterate on a 15-second clip, and you're running it on high-end hardware. If that clip takes 57 minutes to generate, you can't test 3 variations before the client call. You can barely test one, and that's a real bottleneck that users are reporting with MiniMax H3 right now. Watch what happens when you need a fast preview. Kling 3.0 Turbo generates 1 to 15-second previews at 480p or 720p, specifically for rapid iteration, and it's a dedicated mode built for this. MiniMax H3 has no equivalent fast preview mode, and community reports put a 15-second clip at over 57 minutes on high-end hardware, which is a community-reported figure rather than a vendor benchmark, but the pain point is consistent across multiple sources. Kling 3.0 takes generation speed. Turbo's fast preview mode is a real iteration tool, and H3 has nothing close to it, which ties things back up at 2 apiece. I didn't expect the speed gap to be this lopsided given H3's other strengths, but 57 plus minutes per clip is a hard constraint on any real production workflow. Test 5, the tiebreaker. Multi-shot editing. You're building a short film with 5 connected scenes and you need character consistency across all of them. And if your model can't handle multi-shot prompts natively, you're stitching clips together in post, where every cut risks a consistency break. The question is whether MiniMax H3's omni-reference approach is actually as good as Kling 3.0's dedicated multi-shot mode. I ran this one twice to make sure I had it right. Kling 3.0 supports up to 5 shots in standard mode and 6 in turbo, with Kling 3 Edit as a dedicated video-to-video tool on top of that, and MiniMax H3 uses an omni-reference approach with up to 9 images, 3 videos, and 3 audio inputs, which is flexible, but it's not the same as a structured multi-shot storytelling mode, so for complex scene sequencing, Kling's dedicated tooling wins. To be fair, both models have editing modes, and the approaches are genuinely different, rather than one being flat-out broken. H3's omni-reference is more flexible for mixed media inputs, and Kling 3 Edit is more structured for scene-to-scene control, but if you're shipping a multi-scene project with a real storyboard, Kling 3.0's dedicated shot structure is the more reliable tool for that specific job. Kling 3.0 takes multi-shot and editing, its dedicated shot structure, and Kling 3 Edit give it the edge for complex multi-scene work, and that puts Kling 3.0 ahead, 3-2 overall, so Kling 3.0 wins the head-to-head, because it took 2 of the last 3 tests on the dimensions that matter most for serious production work. MiniMax H3 wins on cost at 2.5 to 3 times cheaper per second at the top tier versus Kling Pro with audio. It wins on native audio with 11 dialogue languages in a single omni-modal pass, and it's the only one of the two with an open weight base model you can run locally at 768p if you want to keep data off the cloud. Kling 3.0 wins on physical motion realism, where fight choreography and realistic physics are best in class and H3 isn't close. It wins on generation speed with Turbo's fast preview mode. It wins on multi-shot storytelling with up to 6 shots per prompt and a dedicated Kling 3 edit tool, and it's the only one here with native 4K output and a 60 FPS ultra tier. If your project runs on a tight budget and needs native audio across multiple languages, pick MiniMax H3 because 0.13 per second at 2K is the number that changes the math. If motion realism, fast iteration, and multi-shot control are non-negotiable, Kling 3.0 is worth every cent of the premium. One thing the docs don't spell out, Kling 3.0's 60 FPS ultra tier and native 4K output are separate from the standard Pro mode, and if you're not specifically selecting that tier in the API, you won't get 4K by default. So a lot of users are paying Pro rates and still generating at lower resolution because the tier selection isn't obvious in the interface. If you're trying to figure out whether the text model powering your pipeline is still worth it, I just put out a full breakdown on Claude Opus 4.8. is it still worth using? And the cost per output numbers there are going to feel very familiar after what we just looked at. So check that one out next.